Good evening, and welcome to Thursday Movie Flashback, where we'll be discussing somewhat of a movie, Star Wars Troops, as part of May the Power of the Force. Matthew, my co-host, how are you doing?
I'm doing well tonight. It's a good evening, having fun.
I rewatched this a couple times. It's only like 11 minutes long, and it's not even 11 minutes long. It is. It was better than I remembered, and I forgot that the Stormtroopers were Canadian.
Yep.
They are Canadian, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Just the one. Yeah, well, at least him for sure.
And I do remember thinking that when I had first saw it. So, this is done so good, and I don't know if they've touched it up, or maybe it's just the quality of our computers, but it actually looks way better than I remember it looking.
You watched it on a different place than I did then, because that '90s video does not hold up.
Well, I didn't say it was great. I just remember that I feel like it's better than I remember the video footage. And
I wish that my VCR still worked and I could use my VHS copy, because I think that one still looks the best. When they translated it to YouTube and everything, it got real kind of grainy and blurry. But no, it's still a good watch.
yeah, again, the watch isn't what's the watch isn't what makes it funny. It's the dialogue.
Oh yeah.
And what they do, but the
Yep.
explanation of basically the whole Skywalker saga was a mistake, right?
Well, clearly with how Disney ended it, but
well, okay. Yes, the ending of the Skywalker saga with Disney, that was a mistake. But before we do get in, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
I just love how they tied in all of the events of A New Hope that happened on Tatooine, the big ones with the sandcrawler and everything. I just thought it was awesome.
Yeah, again, like when you look at it, the special effects. I know we could do so much better now with our iPhones, but for what they were doing back then, it was really good. I mean, you can see when the Jawa gets shot, like it flames through him, so it does. But that wasn't the point.
Yeah, it's like that's the early days of I don't even know if After Effects was out then or not. It was around that time that After Effects came out, and if they were playing with that with video effects, that's probably how they did it. Which is, After Effects is an awesome post-production software.
So I all I know is that I got a big kick out of it again when I watched it. I think I watched it yesterday, and then I just rewatched it again. But when I rewatched it yesterday, I was like, "This is really good." It's fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But quickly, let's say hi to the chat, and then we're going to talk about some other TV, movie, whatever we've been watching. Krusty Old Crow is here, and then we have Jay Astro is in the house. Don't worry, this isn't nearly like Monday night because there's like 5 of you here. 3-star draw is here. I feel like I should keep on repeating Krusty and 3-star and Jay Astro because Mr. Wonderful is here. He came to look for Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Now maybe we should do that at the end of the month.
Yeah, we could do that. That would be awesome. Yes.
That is so way underrated movie. I mean, I know some people thought that Star Wars was a ripoff of it, but I don't know. I have a wait, where is it? I don't know. I have an issue with Travis's on my show. If anyone, I should have the actor Travis on, right? When we do Spaceballs, I will invite you for sure, Mr. Wonderful. Yeah. So that's all the people that are here right now.
Yeah.
You guys all know each other.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. But share, and subscribe.
Yeah, but this is what when I finally said, hey, we're only going to put this on this channel, if we don't force people to come over here, and I don't know how much more we can force, we both put out links to it. It's like, we're here. We're here, right over here. Allison just tunes in. Greetings, my beautiful summer children. But what have you been watching? Anything you watch? Anything that is worthy to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we're always watching something or rewatching something or whatever. So we finished Shogun. That was awesome. Some people didn't like exactly how it ended, but I'm a big Japanese history buff, go figure. And so I love to see a lot of the movement, the language, the costumes, the acting was phenomenal in that. So we really enjoyed that. And then we started a rewatch of a TV show called Wonder Falls. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
It's 13 episodes. It's a Brian Fuller series, and Brian Fuller is one of the quirkiest guys in Hollywood that makes really good stuff. It was kind of coming off that Whedon-esque time frame, and he did Wonder Falls and Pushing Daisies, which were really
Daisies,
really fun shows. Yeah, Wonder Falls was about a girl who came from an affluent conservative family whose sister is a secret lesbian, doesn't want to tell her parents. William Sadler's the dad. Lee Pace is the brother. Fargo from Eureka is the store manager, assistant manager. So her family's well-to-do, but she works in a gift shop at Niagara Falls. And then one day, some of the animal toys or wax figures or whatever, they start talking to her. And they tell her to do stuff. And if she doesn't do it, they start singing and getting real annoying until she does it. And when she does, something wonderful happens. So it's trying to change her, as they call her, a Gen Y nihilistic young adult life in the early 2000s.
Wow. Well, I can't speak on that. I can say that we went to Niagara Falls shortly after my mom died, and there was Ripley's Believe It or Not there. And I remember, if anyone's ever been there, there's Ripley's, like, you could get into a statue of the tallest man in the world. And you could, and I remember as we're in the room, this lady walks by, all hunched over, super tall. And I was 13 at the time, 13, I think. And I remember looking at my dad, and I was like, that's the tallest woman in the world. And I remember thinking back as I got older, no, it couldn't have been that. It must have been someone else. And then I remember looking it up, and it was like, she worked there. So she worked there that whole time. So she was there, and she was crossing to go, just crossing to get to the door to go out and feed the birds or something. Really weird. You said Niagara Falls, and that's the only thing I remember of Niagara Falls. Going under in the caves, and then that experience. I doubt she's still there.
Right. Probably not.
My son and we watched Fallout. I know nothing about the video games, but I enjoyed it. It's it's kind of like when if Walter Goggins is in it,
right?
It's kind of like Timothy Olyphant. I will watch it because it's going to be decent because they're such amazing actors.
Yep.
And Walter Goggins, who he normally plays a bad guy, but if you saw The Unicorn, you can see he has a range. He can be comedic and play this guy that you fall in love with. And Timothy Olyphant is the same way, where he can play a bad guy even though normally you don't want him to, because he's so sly with other things. But I enjoyed it. They didn't explain a lot. I actually had to ask Andrew, but I'm okay with that because I don't need everything explained, but after a while, it's kind of like, okay, kind of explain these ghouls to me.
Right.
I need to look at why they live so long. That's the one thing that kind of gets me. Why are they living for 200 years?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you know anything about it.
Not really.
It takes place on Earth, but it's clearly a different universe because
Yeah.
it's kind of like the 60s and like the 50s and 60s, but they're much more advanced in some ways and then not.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a parallel universe that shot off at, I forget what point, but it was like the 40s or 50s that shot off. Like, if this happened, we'd go this way type of thing.
Okay, wait. Who is Oliphant in Die Hard with a Vengeance?
Wasn't I think I remember that.
And Deadwood, okay, he is awesome in Deadwood, but that's when I realized, oh, he just plays the Justified character,
Right.
which I was fine with. I mean, they are two completely different characters, but he plays the Marshal, very similar. I don't. I'm trying to think of who. Because Die Hard with a Vengeance is with Samuel L. Jackson, right?
Yeah, and Jeremy
With
Irons.
Doc.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh no, he's the main. Okay, he's the main bad guy in Die Hard 4.
Oh, okay.
4. I think I stopped watching after the third one. I'm not gonna lie.
The fifth one was bad.
I like the fourth or the third one. I like the one with
Yeah,
it was
I
different.
like the third one.
I like the second one because it was similar to the first, but they made sure you knew that they knew that it was like the first, which was cool. Like normally those sequels will ignore that, but they were like, I can't believe this is happening again.
Yeah, Live Free or Die Hard. That's the Russian one. I didn't like that one very much.
Is that the one where it kind of becomes like more of a superhero type guy? He's jumping around and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have Loki Wartooth joining up. The ghouls are ate up with radiation, and the chemicals they ingest make them live longer. Yeah, but it doesn't explain the humans that have been living for 200 years underground. So that, yeah.
Yeah. So the fourth one was the internet thing. That one had its moments. That's with Justin Long, and then also A Good Day to Die Hard is the Russian one. That's the one with his son where he's a total weird action superhero.
Yeah,
film.
that's what everyone. And we'll never see another one because he can't.
Yeah.
He can barely survive. So I had a Legends series, and then we have. I thought someone else jumped in. Oh, Viper Scott, I missed. So Live Free or Die Hard. They got pretty even boring even trying with the names.
I mean, how far are you gonna go, right?
Yes, very true. But okay. So Loki Wartooth says they are cryotubes. They're in cryotubes. The others underground are descendants. Okay, yeah. So that was at the end. That's when he finds those cryotubes. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I just spoiled a lot. Well, you know what? There's always Tom Cruise. And we know he's not going to die. That dude's like hanging off fucking planes and shit. And he's like...
he got rid of all those Thetans, so, he'll live forever, right?
You know what's funny? I was... I think it was either Jim Rome or Dan Patrick. I think it was Jim Rome. And he was talking to Matt Damon. And Matt Damon did a movie with Bruce Willis. Or not Bruce Willis. With Tom Cruise. And he was talking about he sat down with him. It was before he was famous. It was before he was like big and famous like he is now. And he goes, he was trying to get a stunt done. He's like, you're just crazy. And he's like, how did you even get them to pass that? He goes, oh, the first one wouldn't do it. And he goes, well, how would you do it then? He goes, I just fired him and got someone else. So he just got someone that someone will let him hang off. It wasn't the plan. I don't even know what he was talking about. It was something that was so unsafe that they didn't even want like stuntmen doing it. And he's like, no, that's cool. I did finish. Well, not finish because I don't believe it's over. X-Men 97.
Okay, yeah, we're a couple episodes behind on that.
I won't spoil it this time. Now that I have learned, I haven't learned. I started to really enjoy it.
Okay.
This last episode, it gave me the feel of the original, or maybe I'm just thinking after. There's a lot of action,
Nice.
and you see a lot of, it's it's not really, you have Wolverine's claws, you have Cyclops, and this is what I want out of my cartoons.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun, and I have started to really enjoy it, and just kind of sitting back watching it, going, this is good.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm happy with it. And then we have some Star Wars stuff starting.
Well, and I have been trying to catch up on the Bad Batch. I'm a little far behind on that one, but I don't know. I still kind of enjoy that show.
I don't even know who Alex is talking about, but I kind of forgot.
They're talking about Tom Cruise still, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe. But I forgot that Alice brought up Matt Damon, and she doesn't like Matt Damon or Ben Affleck.
Well, Ben doesn't have the greatest name around town with the ladies. I mean, he's got some issues.
But he makes good movies.
He does.
I mean, I feel like people will get. I feel people like they give Matt Damon the credit, but then Ben Affleck, and it's like, have you watched some of the stuff that he's done and directed? It's really good.
Well, I mean, you look at Argo. That kind of really put him on the forefront because of how much he did for that movie. But
yes, I really like that. I really like that movie.
Yeah.
And then when you saw, what was the Michael Jordan movie?
Oh, Air. That was great too.
Air is good, and
yeah.
Again, if right now, if I looked over and what was the first movie they did together?
Well, I mean,
the
what they were in together.
When they co-wrote together,
Chasing Amy. No, that was the one with Robin Williams.
Yes.
How about Them Apples?
God, come on, someone.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. If that was on right now, I'd probably just be like, you do whatever you want. That's a movie I could just watch anytime. That is written so good.
The banter that goes back and forth between Matt Damon and Robin Williams is phenomenal.
And then I the other day I happened to either on Instagram or it was a short, and it was the clip of when they're in the bar.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, wait. And then as soon as I see them turn around, I'm like, oh no, this is the sequel. But I didn't realize, they did such a good job of making it look the exact same.
Yeah.
Good Will Hunting too. I don't like them apples. And then he just has a shotgun and no, that's
yeah, I think Cressio Crow hit it. I knew it was one of the Kevin Smiths. I think was their first time to be on screen really together. But
yeah, well, Good Will Hunting, I believe they wrote it a long time before that.
Yeah, and I think a well-deserved Academy Award for that. So,
do you guys ever watch Ben Affleck in that old movie Boiler Room?
Yeah,
been it for only a few seconds, but very good. I have never even heard of Boiler Room.
Oh, it's good. You should check that one out sometime.
What's it about? A boiler room?
Yeah, Boiler Room. No, it's like gambling. I forget. I haven't seen it in forever, but I thought it was like gambling or something. Anyway.
Is it like a phone booth where he's in the phone booth the whole time?
No, it's not a one-man show. Castaway.
Man,
the one that Tom Hanks did. Terminal. When he was in the airport.
That's actually a pretty good movie.
It is.
Tom Hanks is another one that he does a movie and you're like, that's gonna be stupid, and then you watch it and you're like, he's one of those actors that you would think at this point in life you would just see Woody or hear Woody, but you don't look at him and you don't see bosom buddies, you don't see Saving Private Ryan. It's whatever character he's in, and it's always so good. He somehow made Talking to a Volleyball
right
a good movie.
Yeah,
and you felt bad when he loses Wilson. Like you feel bad. Like it wasn't real.
Yeah.
It wasn't real. And we never got to see what was in the box.
What's in the box? Oh, sorry, wrong movie.
He likes to have sex in uncomfortable places, like the backseat of a Volkswagen. I love that. We already did. I mean, we did Mallrats right off the bat.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm going to throw this out there. Hardware Wars, Beneath the Dome, and Fanboys are also ones that would be fun to do. But I think the Spaceballs idea is probably the best one for our next one.
Or at least at the end of the month.
Yeah.
It gives us time to sit down and watch it, break it down again. Yeah, I'm a big. We've talked about Spaceballs before. I think the good guys, other than Yogurt, lack, but the bad guys make up for it.
Oh yeah.
They.
It's one of my favorite Mel Brooks movies. I go back and I try to watch some of the other ones, and they're just not as funny. But I can watch Spaceballs anytime.
It was such a. I mean, there's so much to unravel when you watch it, and the fact that George Lucas didn't care. I mean,
Yeah.
He has. I would say at that point he had the greatest franchise of all time.
Yep.
And people take shots and he doesn't care. It's like,
yep.
All right, have fun. George Lucas is a weird guy for sure. He wanted to build that studio and they didn't want it there. So what was it? He wanted to do something with like, not the projects, but some sort of like homes that were cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, I'm sorry. He bought he wanted to put a film studio there by rich people, and when they wouldn't let him, he turned into a housing commission to lower their property. I remember I read the article. I'm like, what a dick. They're worried that it would like bring down the property value of like where they were at, so he put like low income housing there. Like,
yeah.
Anything else that you've been watching?
Just rewatching some stuff, catching up on some things. Lots of YouTube.
Yeah, I know. I end up on this thing way too much. I started watching Three Body, and that was
good.
But I started watching the second episode, but I was doing other things, and
oh yeah, no.
That's when you have to be focused on, especially because there's a lot of subtitles in it, and you guys have seen me read. Don't think I can read and do something at the same time.
Yeah, so the Three Body Problem is really good. It ends at a point where there are 2 more books, so there's not really a big payoff at the end, other than you get to see a big story arc, and I thought it was really well done.
Well, if there's only 3 books, that's good, because I think Netflix really normally likes to do 3 seasons, and they kill.
Well, so I mean, this is why the binge model doesn't work, because they get their budget up front, and they make a bunch of episodes, and then they drop them all at once, and then there's no revenue generated from dropping it all at once, because you get a hit for 1 to 2 weeks, and then it's gone, and so you can't make any more money off of it, and so you can't generate more to create more seasons. That way, so that big chunk of money that was there up front is all that they have. So that works out to be 2, maybe 3 seasons if it was really, really good.
I know they've always done the binge.
But did you see what they're doing with Cobra Kai?
No.
So the last season has 3 drop dates.
Oh.
So they're dropping 5 episodes at a time.
Oh, it's 15 episodes?
Mm-hmm. I think that's what it was. But so I forget the exact dates, but they've announced the first 2 drop dates of the 3 drop dates for the season. It will end in next year. It'll end at the beginning of next year sometime.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want that to end.
No, I do. because
I wanted to end on top, but I'm not ready for it to end. I think
right, yeah, because if you don't end it, then it will run itself into the ground.
Yeah, but it was like The Office. I wasn't ready for The Office to end, but I'm glad they ended it before it got stale.
Yeah,
and I didn't mind it without Michael Scott because they didn't try and replace him.
Yeah,
it was good. When you try and replace someone with the exact same character, and you're like, I can tell it's not him.
Yeah,
Andy was completely different.
Yeah,
I liked Andy before he was the boss, and they break him and he punches the wall. But yeah, I cannot think if there's anything else that I've really been watching. I sit down and I'm like,
I'm hoping that I get to see Fall Guy this weekend. I want to see that one.
Is that out now?
It should be. Yeah.
Or it will be out?
Will be or is currently. Yeah. They premiered it already. I know that. So it should be out, released to the public either yesterday or tonight.
You're really doing a Fall Guy movie.
I loved that TV show as a kid.
I remember the song.
Yep.
I can't remember one episode. I mean, I don't want to say how interesting can a show about a stuntman be, because I thought
really
Chips
just a
was
stuntman.
awesome.
Right? You thought what?
Yeah, I thought Chips was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, they modernized it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chips, just quickly, Eric Estrada is in Fallout.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I was like, I'm like, that's Eric Estrada, which I didn't geek out too much because my son would have been like, "Who's that?" And then I would have had to explain it for an hour how amazing of an actor he was. He was Mexican, so we liked him. My dad and I liked him because he was Mexican. I didn't realize he was banging everyone. He was the original William Riker.
Rico Suave.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's in Fallout. Like I catch it, I'm like, oh, that's Eric Estrada.
Yeah.
He's another guy that seems like he's gonna live forever.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I can't think of. I put on Buffy. So my daughter and I have started to watch Buffy.
That show's awesome.
The first, well, we're still in the first season.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Oh no, man, I loved all of it. Yeah, I thought it was great.
I love it. I love it. And if the episode of if we ever get our episodes done for this toy store, the one toy store has a whole bunch of Buffy stuff, and
nice.
I was like totally geeking out at it, and my son was like, "This is Buffy the Vampire Slayer."
Yeah, yes, it is. You put the 7 seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the 5 seasons of Angel, and you've got an amazing world story arc.
What's bad about Buffy, and I love it, it's that it's like no one questions that this librarian is always hanging out with these 3 kids.
Right.
Or if you want to count Cordelia.
Yeah.
No one's ever in the library except when it's part of a story arc. What was funny is the episode we just watched was the one with the ventriloquist.
Uh-huh.
And the new principal had come out. And Olivia goes, "Oh my God, those are some big ears." And I go, "Oh, you need to look at a Star Trek character." And so she looks up Quark, and I'm like you don't realize that there's someone kind of points it out, and you're like, "Oh my God." They base Ferengis off how he looks.
But the puppet episode of Angel is one of my favorite episodes of television ever.
But they were able to do musicals and make it work.
Well, and so everybody's tried to copy the Whedon-esque speak and the Whedon-esque musical, and I don't know that anybody's done it good enough.
No, he's done such wonderful things. That's why I have a hard time blaming his Justice League cut because everything else that he touched was pretty good.
Well, so that was a bad situation all around. I mean,
Awful.
he came into the project after it was done, when the original director is grieving for his daughter's death, and he has to come in, and he's gotten pressure from the corporation to re-edit it into something fun and exciting. That was different than Zach's vision, completely different. And he had to take what footage he had and try to scrape together a couple new pieces to mesh it all together. So he walked into a shit show. And he did the best he could with it. You know, there are aspects of his version that I like, but for the most part, the Snyder cut is the one that I prefer. It's one of the few Snyder things I actually like these days.
Well, yeah, and again, I mean, I've seen the other Zack Snyder stuff. I watched. Did I finish? I haven't finished Rebel Moon 2. I enjoyed Rebel Moon, to be honest. I watched the second one. You'll be happy to know Spec agrees with you. So, I enjoyed it, and the second one, it hasn't bothered me, but it is one. It's kind of long, and again, if you get rid of the stupid slow motion, the movies could be shorter, and you wouldn't lose anything.
If you combine Rebel Moon 1 and 2 without the slow motion, it's a 2-hour movie. When you put those two movies together.
I don't understand the whole. I mean, flares. Okay, I get it, J.J. Abrams. You like flares. It doesn't slow down the movie.
Right.
It actually sometimes adds things. Not in Star Wars.
But what also gets me about Snyder is that he filmed an entire movie with a camera with a cracked lens because he thought it was artistic.
Well, yeah, Loki, you heard that because Matthew keeps saying it.
It's not just
I heard
me,
the
brother.
same thing.
It's not just me.
No, it's not just you. I figured I'd watch it. It really didn't bother me. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big Zack Snyder fan, and now
this was his big pitch to Star Wars that Kathleen Kennedy said no to. That was a good decision she made. Yeah. So I mean, how do you have spaceships powered by coal? Why are you trying to get this little tiny bit of grain food from this one little tiny moon when you wiped out an entire planet? You nuked an entire planet that was rich, full of resources that could have fed your empire forever. But you're looking for this one little speck of food that's going to feed one ship for a week. And you're not concerned about the coal that's required to power your spaceships. I mean, there's lots of logical problems with the whole thing, but
I feel like we watched Commando and discussed that logic we need to throw out the window.
Well, it has to be a consistency to the world, right? You know, if the guy can rip the door off a car and that's one thing. You know, if he can carry trees around over his shoulder, okay, that's part of that world, right? But this is taking the whole concept and throwing it out the window because fuel would be more important than food because food would be easier to get. But anyway, that's a whole other thing.
See, you're right. It's Matt's fault. And again, like, you know, just when I talk about, you know, Whedon versus Snyder, you know, stuff that Whedon did that was his, no matter what people think that he's a mean person, you know, stuff he touched was gold. Buffy was really, really good. Yeah. Now, my issue with Buffy, and it has nothing, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much, is that we're watching another episode we're watching another episode. Now, mind you, we've already had the kids that ate the first principal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, at that point, I'm taking my kid out of school.
I mean, but it is the Hellmouth, so everybody's corrupted anyway. So, yeah. You know.
In this episode, a girl gets killed in school, and her heart is removed. They just keep going about school. They don't send anyone home.
They do kind of talk about it, how they cover it all up. It's a big conspiracy, and only like the family of the people directly affected by it even know anything about it. And nobody else talks about it.
Not in this one because the police officers were actually in there and they were.
Oh, okay.
Like the worst police officer, because Giles is in there like looking at her, and then he comes out and like the police officer opens, and Olivia was like, "So they just let the librarian." Like, Stop looking at logic.
Allison, the parents were definitely latchkey parents, right? So they didn't care about their kids. They were just doing their thing.
I don't care if someone died in that school. You're going.
We're not moving. My job is too good here.
But like I said, I enjoyed it, and one thing that I've discussed, and I remember the first time I've seen it, and every time I've ever seen it, it creeps me out. And it was when she finds her mom dead.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had to take this on a somber note. When I first saw it, I went, "She's dead."
Yeah.
And I remember thinking it, and it was almost how my mom was laying on the couch when I walked in an uncomfortable position that even if you were sleeping, you would have moved. And I remember watching it later on again, thinking maybe it was just in my mind, and I saw it again, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
They nailed it. Like,
yeah,
she was in that uncomfortable position that even if you passed out, like, you would have moved.
Yeah.
Your body would have just like forced yourself to move out of it.
Yeah.
And I applaud them for how well they did that. And you know that she never came back on like every other superhero's parents.
Yeah. Well, so Joss is known for doing that. He uses death very specifically in everything that he does. And it's always to make a point. It's always to be a rallying point for the heroes. You know, when he killed Coulson, when he killed Wash, you know, when he selects people to die, it's for a story point.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was the one that said, I always laughed because he was always the one that said, like, Coulson is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but it's your production group doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. it's your brother and your...
but it wasn't really him. It never
I know.
was him. But
it's just funny that it was still his, like,
Yeah.
his, you know. Crusty says, I was a big fan of Angel's last couple of seasons. They featured, how do you say it? I know it.
Illyria?
Yeah. That was heartbreakingly awesome writing. Dude, Angel, I liked Angel more than Buffy.
Yes, Angel was I think a better show altogether, but I love Buffy too.
Oh, listen, the one thing I hated about Buffy, and it's kind of funny because people will talk about it. I didn't like when her and Spike got together.
Yeah, I mean Spike is also one of my favorite characters. I mean,
I love Spike.
Yeah, but them together never set with me either.
I am like totally like I'm like a girl. Like, no, it's supposed to be Buffy and Angel. It's just how it is.
It's Buffy and Angel. Right? It's always Buffy and Angel.
Buffy and Angel, and I can't be that jealous. I'm like, you can have sex with her either.
Yeah, it's Snake Eyes and Scarlet.
But and they had such wonderful chemistry.
Yeah, David Boreanaz is awesome. I like him in most things that I've seen him in.
I love SEAL Team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, mostly everything that he does. I wasn't a fan of Bones. I didn't like the actress.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a bad show.
I think that was on about the same time as Castle was, so we were watching a lot of Castle.
I never watched Castle.
Castle was great, and those two had chemistry together, even though she was crazy, and she actually ruined the ending of the show. But that's because she actually refused to work with Nathan Fillion in the last season.
Yeah, Loki. See, my mom dead haunts me to this day, even years later. I can't say I've forgotten about it. Obviously, it was so long ago for me that I don't even think about it.
Yeah,
I can say that because I was 13 when she passed away. 26 was a weird year because then there's like, okay, I've been around longer. I haven't had her as I've had her now. How do you say it?
She's been gone longer
than yes. And then 38 was weird because she was almost 39, and you're like,
wow,
like, and here I am 40 fucking 8. Yeah, there was an episode of we're gonna get to the movie, guys. If You guys are hanging on, all 13 of you. An episode of Home Improvement where he doesn't want to sign the will.
Yeah.
Because he has a Ford in his garage. His dad had a Ford, and he had 3 boys, and his dad had 3 boys, and he thinks that if he signs it, and the funniest thing about that is I still use this when people talk about infomercials, is he was watching a knife commercial, and it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and he orders the knives, and then like she comes down and sees them, and then the commercial's on, and she's like, who orders this stuff? And he's like, it takes all kinds of people. So every time I see like an infomercial, we don't see them as much anymore now that everything is based by
it's all
streaming
spam to
services.
us in our social media feeds.
But someone was buying ShamWows. All right,
Somebody had to.
was buying ShamWows. People, it's a towel. It's a yellow towel.
And you know what? It's all in the name.
The guy made it look exciting.
Yeah, but it was a sham. Well,
yes. and then there was the guy that had the tape that just fixed every leak in the world.
Oh yeah.
He just slap it on the glass boat. Like, why do you have a glass boat? So, anyway.
All right.
We should maybe get into our movie.
The Star Wars / Cops parody.
Yes, for May of the Power of the Force. Now, we are going to kind of do a watch along. We're not monetized, so I guess we don't really have anything to worry about. And in actuality, the opening song, Bad Boys, is really the only thing I think that would... It's on like a bunch of different YouTube, so...
Yeah.
Again, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, this is fun.
It's 11 minutes, and all 11 minutes are better than anything of the sequel trilogy. I don't care what anyone says. All right. It is better than anything. No one throws a lightsaber over their shoulder because they don't care about it anymore.
There were moments in The Force Awakens that were okay.
The Force Awakens is a movie I can watch.
Yeah.
It encompasses all 3 movies, all 3 of the original movies in one. But the sequels are awful.
Yeah.
Because first off, they make no sense. They don't work together.
No, they don't. Especially with having a different director come in and completely change the character. Anyway.
It would have been better had Luke Skywalker woke up at the beginning of episode of the third one.
Yeah. It was all.
I'm sorry. His wife would have woke up and he was in the shower and she dreamt it all.
Yeah.
Just like Bobby and Dallas in the one season that they're like, we need to bring you back. We're just gonna make it just didn't exist. Little known fact, I used to love Dallas.
Yeah, well, so it would have been perfect because they could have tied it back into the novels because Mara wakes up and it was all a dream, and then their son Ben Skywalker walks in and says, "What's wrong, mommy?" And then we go from there.
Okay, so another rant. Here we're on like season 4 or 5 of the Connors, right? They brought back Roseanne. Roseanne made some comments that they weren't nice comments. With that said, if you go back and look at what Roseanne said, she specifically said that woman looked like a specific Planet of the Apes, and she does. She didn't say she looks like an ape. She said she looks like that one. Now you know it's gonna get you in trouble.
Yeah.
But if you go and look at who she was talking about, they did look alike.
Well, and now they're destroying what's his name's character, Johnny Galecki's character too.
Yeah, but they brought him back.
Right, and now they're making him the bad dad, and they're gonna,
Well,
get rid of him.
Yeah, they made him the bad dad from the beginning, and
yeah.
I didn't like that, and he said like, hey, this, they allowed him Big Bang Theory allowed him to go do it because they said it meant so much to him.
Yeah, and now he wants off the show, so he agreed to do a heel turn.
Yeah, well, he hasn't been on for a couple seasons.
Yeah,
but it's like here we're on I think season 4 of The Connors, and if you remember the last season, Dan was dead.
Yes.
They also
came back.
Yes, they also had another kid that has never been
seen or heard from again. Yep.
And even their son, who was, they've had him on, but now he's just kind of been written off. His wife was in the military, and now the daughter's gone too. And it's just like, all right.
Yeah, whatever.
I enjoy it. I watch it. I still enjoy the show.
I was never a big fan of the show to begin with, so.
I wasn't a big fan of it, but I always like shows I did watch. I do like seeing when they bring it back and seeing if they're able to do it justice. And I think Roseanne, they did it justice.
I thought they've done okay with the new Night Court series too, but
I watched the first couple episodes and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then I don't have Peacock, so then I have to pay for it. The one that I was hoping, and I'm upset they didn't do, was Coach.
Oh,
they were supposed to bring that back, and his son was going to be a coach, I believe. Coach is one of my favorite TV shows. Yeah. You don't have to be a sports fan to like that.
No, yeah,
but just I always tell people, if you want to know how a man thinks,
there you go.
He's not malicious.
No,
we're just oblivious.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Most of this is our assholes.
Yeah.
But people are just oblivious. So, Dauber. We were actually talking about Dauber, because Dauber was played by. He played Broadway and the Gargoyles, and I was like, in that review that only 123 people watched, I think, when I put the pot of chili in his hands, I'm sorry, I looked at it and I'm like, all right. The dude from The Office has to play him in live action.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly how he's holding the pot of chili when he drops it. All right. So what we're going to do is actually watch this. We will mute it till the Bad Boys theme is over. This will be easier than writing everything down. So if you haven't watched Troops, I don't know how you haven't. You've had time to watch it while we've been on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was a 1997 short mockumentary, and it debuted at San Diego Comic-Con in July 1997. So it was a Comic-Con when Comic-Con was actually about comics and nerd stuff instead of corporate-owned media.
Yes, but I want to see the Dragonfly, so let it be however it is. So we can see the damn Dragonfly. And yeah, I guess that's for another topic for another day. But
yeah,
if this Star Wars HasLab pushes back the G.I. Joe HasLab, actually I might be okay considering we'll be coming right out of Joe Fest.
Right. Well, it's either going to be shipping when you guys are at Joe Fest and everything, or it's going to be shortly thereafter, hopefully.
No, she said she said on a Toy Kind of Mood, late summer, early fall.
Well, okay, so yeah, they did kind of adjust those dates, didn't they?
Yeah. I'm going late fall, early winter.
Yeah. Well, that's a longer production time than the Hiss. That's disappointing.
Is it? That's what I'm trying to figure out if it is.
Yeah, because the Hiss funded and then was shipped almost exactly a year later, roughly.
I thought because we got it in November, didn't we?
Yeah, and that's about when it funded. It funded in September, November of the year previous. They
had the model at San Diego Comic-Con, didn't they?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 18 months.
It was almost exactly a year.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is that the new one should be up, and I really didn't need to be around Joe Fest. So super chats for everyone this Monday. All
But he
right.
only does the chair spinny thing on Oz's.
Well, it depends on how much
The super
new
chat's
one will
for.
be.
Right.
Yeah. If it's $50 super chat you want me to spin, listen, I got no shame. All right. I have no shame.
All right. Due to the humorous nature, viewer discretion is advised.
All right.
Love the intro. Love the Arabesh. I mean, I know they translated it all there.
And what's really good about this, if you remember Cops, they would
it.
always show you a lot of things that were going to happen.
Yep. So, and it says translated in English, EAP, English for academic purposes.
I love the fact that they were able to get speeder bikes in here.
Yep.
Again, I don't know what they were using at the time. Maybe they were using Power of the Force stuff.
Maybe they had good sculpts on those.
Yeah. But I mean, it was done just like Cops.
Yep. Even this part, I remember seeing that a couple times on the original Cops.
When I started watching it again, I was like, "Oh, they're just showing." I'm like, "Did I miss this?" I forgot that it was the beginning.
Yeah.
A nice look at Boba Fett.
Yeah, I mean, they did great with the costumes, and this is really kind of before the big 501st when they're mass producing these things. So,
and they have 4 fully loaded, fully kitted out stormtrooper outfits.
Yep.
Nothing's obviously going to be CGI'd, but there's
there is CGI in this.
I mean, they didn't CGI another extra stormtroopers in it.
Copy and paste.
Boba Fett costume is awesome.
Yeah.
And I like that this was it. Like, this was it. I mean, he was going to be on Tatooine. No one really knew, where the whole Boba Fett would be. But I like that this was all they showed. They didn't have him in it or anything like that. So.
Yep, that was perfect.
They get the Utini in.
Yep. Got to get that in there.
But again, I think that this shot, like I told you, I think the camera is actually better than what I remember it being.
Yeah.
So I think we can probably turn on. I don't think the sound comes through here, so you're gonna hear it through my microphone.
Horses. All suspects are guilty.
Can the chat hear that?
They wouldn't be suspect, would they?
I love that line. There wouldn't be suspects otherwise.
It says it very sarcastically.
The beatdown of the Jawas Boba Fett. Filmed on location. Here's the bad CGI.
But the fact that they have an ATST and a shuttle Tidarian is pretty awesome.
Yeah, the Tri-Wing shuttle is awesome, and they articulate it and make it move. They did a really good job with the technology they had at the time, creating even the shadow of the walker there.
Yeah.
And then the guys walking around it. It's a nice job.
And this was, I think we were talking about it was an Oz's, I think. The shuttle Tidarian would be a perfect HasLab.
Oh yeah,
because as big as it was, and it was pretty big, it's not in scale.
Right.
It wasn't in scale to what it was supposed to be. So
right, not at all.
And then Aaron the Toy Enhancer could use it with his 30 stormtroopers that he's going to get. That's going to cost him tens of dollars.
Tens of dollars. Did you see what's it? Aaron the Toy Enhancer's stormtrooper collection? Power of the Force stormtroopers.
Did he post it?
Yeah.
Oh, I know he said he was going to get like 30 of them.
Yeah, he got a bunch.
Because we were talking about it on Wednesday.
Yep.
It was yesterday. And that's when Shiny Plastic People was like, it's going to cost him tens
of dollars.
I was like, all right. But you got the speeder bikes.
Empire about 6 years ago. I can remember as a kid, watching the holographic images and being excited about the new direction that the galaxy was taking. So when I was old enough, I went down to the local recruitment center, and signed up. And I've been here at Tatooine ever since.
So-
yeah, I love his little backstory. He's just giving them the camera a little piece of who he is, Law and Order.
And the question is this guy Canadian or is he just talking with a Canadian accent? Because anyone that lives this close to the border, I mean, we've all heard it on TV, but when you've been over there,
He could totally be from Wisconsin.
yeah, which is pretty much Canada.
Right.
But yeah, I love that he's given the backstory of where he went. It does a really good job of building the story for
Yep.
the 10 minutes that they have to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
And as I'm watching it now, there is a lot of speeder bikes. Like
Yep.
there's more CGI in here than I think.
Yeah, so
I was
they
thinking.
found an interesting way to put those on camera or in there, and I do have to think that it had to do with the invention of After Effects or something like that helped them stick some toys and put them through there or something.
Yeah, and like this one, even here, you can see that it has the shadow of it.
Yep.
So they're already one step up above what George Lucas was doing when he did Star Wars.
Well, yeah. George was obviously working on the prequel trilogy at this time too. So
Yeah.
Most people would call this the ass end of space, but I like the small town feeling you get around here. I mean, we know everybody.
everybody.
And I think it'll really make a difference here.
The ass end of space.
Well, if there's a bright center of the universe, you know that they're on the planet that it's farthest from.
And the best part is, like, you heard Luke whine and cry about being there.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much telling you, like, yeah, it's the ass end of space. But he likes the hometown feel. And again, like, Shuttle Tidarian, I mean...
Well, it's
They're
not shuttle
pretty-
Tidarium. It's an Imperial shuttle.
Whatever. Oh, wait. Is the Shuttle Tidarian the Emperor's?
No, shuttle Tidarium is the one that they commandeered and stole to get onto Endor. So it was the actual name of the shuttle.
Oh. I never even realized that. I never realized that. I've
Yes.
always called it the Shuttle Tidarian. But now it makes sense. Like, they're the Imperial shuttles. It was that specific one, which makes sense. Millennium Falcon. There's not like a bunch of Millennium Falcons.
But there are the YT-1300s.
Yes.
That ship was mass produced at one point.
Okay, so I learned something new today. May the power of the Force be with you too.
We got a routine stop here. We have a report of
I love this part.
We think these might be it.
Stolen droids.
Excuse me. You want to come over here, please?
And that's the MST-3K droid. That's Tom Servo.
Whose droid is this? It's your cousin's. Is this your cousin? Is this your cousin? Are you his cousin?
So this is done exactly like we've seen Cops and other
Oh, yeah.
where they start separating them.
Yep.
Uh,
I love Tom Servo. I love that little nod that they threw in there.
but I love that they're separating them just like they did a really good job of imitating. It makes you wonder, like, if one or a couple of them were police officers.
Oh,
they-
probably.
They would understand, because they do have their protocol that we see.
Well, and Cops is probably one of the most popular shows at the time. I mean, it's run for like 20 years or something. Almost as long as Married with Children.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that was missing was the Jawa shirtless.
Oh, nobody wants to see that.
Well, especially that after we found out what they're like.
Yes.
That's the one thing Disney did give us, was what a Jawa looks like underneath.
Yeah.
Without ever seeing one.
Yeah.
No? Okay, then who are you? You're his friend. Well, Mr. Friend, would you step over there for a moment, please? Okay, so the droid belongs to your cousin. Now, if I go over to that sand crawler over there and ask to see your cousin, is he going to have a bill of sale for this? Okay, well, what I'm going to do now, sir, is place you under Imperial arrest so we can only help. Hey, am I talking to you? Am I talking to you?
I love that he points the gun at him.
Am I talking to you? Am I talking to you, punk? Make my day.
If I go to that Imperial Sandcrawler, is he going to, have a notice sales for this? It's just awesome that here's this Sandcrawler, and again, it's explaining everything that happened. That we think it was something different.
Oh yeah, they were looking for stolen droids.
And stay over there and shut your mouth. Now, if you move again, I'm gonna shoot you.
I'm gonna shoot you.
Yeah, I understand. I got a wife and kids too, but you don't see me out here stealing Imperial droids now, do you? Yeah, sure you'll never do it again.
Lambda class shuttle. Yeah, that's right. Shoots his head right off.
Okay, so this is where you kind of see the weird, the flame effects.
Yeah, but I think it's funny as hell that he shot his head right off.
Is that what it is? That he shoots his head off?
Yes.
I watched it like 3 or 4 times over and over. Is it his head?
It looks like his head to me.
Oh, you are absolutely correct. Because I kept thinking when I saw it, I'm like, did they make it look like a shell ejected out of it?
No.
But now that we watch it again, did anyone else ever notice this? Because I can't not see it.
I saw it from the first moment I ever watched this.
Now,
Bam.
Shut the camera off.
Yeah.
Shut it off.
Shut it off.
Shut it off.
so I never realized that it was his head. Now I can't not see it. You're doing absolutely correct. Because I was looking at him like, was there a shell that but then when he shot the other one, it didn't happen. I'm like, oh. So I couldn't figure out what it was. But now the moment you said it, then you could see his head was gone. And that's what was on fire.
Krusty, yeah, it did escalate quickly, but this is imperial law. You mess with it, you're gonna get shot.
3-star stars, yes. When I watched it the other day, don't remember if I noticed that back in the day. I know I didn't. I definitely noticed. I know I didn't notice it back then. Today,
I totally do because I laughed so hard at that then too.
I watched it 3 or 4 times trying to figure out what it was, and I thought maybe it was just a mess up or whatever. And then the moment you said that he shoots his head off, I'm like, and that's why it goes off screen.
Yep.
So you don't need to see it roll around like Jango Fett.
Right.
Well, I'm learning lots of things again. Yes.
Well, what we had here was that these Jawas had stolen some Imperial property, and it unfortunately turned violent. These Jawas do this kind of stuff all the time, picking up, stray droids and selling them off at the highest paying customers.
Here we go. Those blast points, too precise for sand people. Only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise.
I love that he says it turned violent. It turned violent because you shot him.
Hey, they were disobeying.
It turned violent. Like, it wasn't violent till you shot his head off. Now, again, you also know that this is fake because they actually hit them.
Hey, this is real Star Wars. Before everybody started making fun of that stuff.
Yes, he was resisting arrest.
That's right.
No one could have chased him down.
That would involve running.
Not with how fast the Jawas are moving. And
where's he gonna go? You're in the middle of the desert. There's nowhere for him to run to.
And they had speeder bikes. They could have just kind of pulled up next to him. Like, what are you doing?
That's too much effort. It's easier just to kill him. It's less paperwork.
Yeah, you don't run. You only die tired. Very true.
Well, we didn't find the droids we were looking for, but we did find one that a kid had reported stolen. So he and his parents are going to come down to the detention center and pick it up.
Boy, I'll bet they'll be happy.
Yep, that's what it's all about.
Now, do you think that they purposely used a short stormtrooper?
Well, of course.
I didn't think about it until I was just watching. I'm like, I wonder if they specifically had a shorter guy do that. But they did find a droid, and they're having the parents come down.
Yeah, the kid's droid. So yeah, the kid's
And if you remember Cops, they would kind of explain certain things that were happening. So
yep,
I awesome.
And here comes the Cops logo. I mean, Troops logo. Just like it.
I just want to check out this domestic dispute. Now, supposedly the husband said something to their kid, and now the wife thinks that he's run off. Supposedly one of them's intoxicated and one of them's injured. Now,
Intoxicated on blue milk.
Yeah, I was about to ask. So, is there something we don't know? Where's Chris from Shiny Plastic People? He was drinking a whole bunch. He could let us know.
Oh,
maybe he was drinking non-alcoholic blue milk.
oh yeah, that's the green milk from anyway.
Yeah. But again, the lead up to this is just like Cops. They do such a good lead up. You're hearing the microphones, and to think that this was done over 25 years ago now.
Yep.
I mean, we'd be hard pressed to do something this good now. I mean, you might not be, but we would.
Some of those Jedi Battle fan films that have been coming out are really awesome.
Yeah.
And what Star Wars Theory did with his Vader movie thing, that was awesome.
we're familiar with this couple. This is not the first time we've been out here. So we're going to see if we can straighten this whole thing out. Oh, yeah. Well, what's your problem?
I've had it. I've had it with him. He keeps lying to Luke and me, and now Luke's run off and hasn't come back.
That's ridiculous. Hey, I'll talk to you in a second. Right now, I'm talking to your wife. All right.
And they got the face covered up.
Yeah. So they put the filter on there, but they're also filming it in kind of shadow. I thought the woman who plays Baru, she actually, to me, kind of sounds like the actress.
Yes. I think they did a really good job making them look like the actors.
Yeah.
Again, I think it being in standard definition and not high HD lends to the fact that we can't see that it's not the actual actor.
Right.
Luke's probably dead now because of you.
Now, Baru, just...
Okay, well, why would Luke probably be dead? I was trying to figure, why would she just assume he's probably dead?
Well, because he wandered off and he's a punk kid, and the sand people do exist out there. So something probably a Sarlacc popped out of somewhere, or some sand people got him.
That's not. But
she's probably a little racist against sand people. I'm just saying.
Because of his dad.
Because of his dad.
It's in the genes, is what you're saying. He's like, I ran them over, and not just the men,
the women and children too.
I ran them over in my land speeder. Yeah, 3-star says they know who he is. They probably live in constant fear of Vader.
Well, there's that. But they don't know that Vader's Vader.
She doesn't know. He does.
Well, I mean, they don't know that he's Vader. But
I always got the impression that in A New Hope that Owen knew that Vader, or that his father was Vader.
No, I
always got the impression she didn't, but he did.
I think the only person that knew that Anakin was Vader was Obi-Wan and the Emperor.
See, I always got the impression that he did, because when she's like, he's just too much like his father, and he's like, that's what I'm afraid of.
Well, no, he go back and watch the prequels again because Owen never liked Anakin.
No. I'm talking about when I used to, before the prequels.
Yeah.
In A New Hope, I always took it as he knew.
Wow.
You know, before he went back and retconned certain things, but I always took it when the movies were made that Owen knew that Vader was. But then again, I guess it doesn't make any sense because it wasn't even written yet.
Right.
So,
I always took it as that he didn't. His father lived a dangerous life and died, and so he probably thought that if Luke goes down that path, he's going to live a dangerous life and die too. That's just the way I took it.
or just go slaughter sand people.
Oh yeah, or go
like-
slaughter sand people.
Instead of talking about like bullseye, hitting swamp rats,
Yeah.
talking about we should just take out those sand people with our lightsabers.
Well,
And not
Darren,
just the men, the women and the kids too.
yeah. 3-star agrees with you.
Yeah, but now that I think about it, George Lucas says like nobody knew that Vader was his father till Empire. So to me, now that I'm thinking about it, it's more or less it was a happy accident.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that were happy accidents in this, to be honest.
Right.
Just like the Avengers movies. Like there's a lot of happy accidents that you're like, oh, that just fit perfectly when they really had no idea that it was going to be.
Sorry, Krusty. I do like some logical consistency inside a universe, and so I get picky sometimes.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And if Travis is on, you might. I mean, Mr. Wonderful Travis, you might want to watch with all your Chat GTP stuff that you do because every now and then I'm on a Facebook group and I see Matthew just going after some guy that we need to discuss that guy too. He's not even taking good poses and making them artwork. He's
Look,
I
I wasn't the only one. Diana Davis and half the other people in that group were jumping on him.
but his poses were like they were just like a vanilla pose and standing.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like a. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that some other time.
Okay. Back to this.
Calm down, okay? And you want to be arrested? Well, if you keep this up, that's just what I'm going to have to do. You don't want that, do you? Okay, then. Are you going to calm down? Okay, good. Why don't you start over?
Because in the history of telling people to calm down, it always works.
Especially women.
Especially.
My nephew. Anyway, he says, I think these droids we bought might be stolen. And then he says, well, I don't care. Your only concern is to get them working. And this is like, I want to go to the academy. And he says, well, I need you for the harvest this year. And then he starts talking about Obi-Wan and his father.
I did not.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You're just
So, anyone that's ever argued with a woman has had this exact argument. And not this about droids, but you only want this. And it's like, no, it's not exactly. I mean,
But you said exactly this. And no, it wasn't exactly that. Yes, it was.
and you can tell at this point he's trying to avoid, who
An
she's
imperial
mentioned.
entanglement.
Yes. Yeah, so he's definitely trying to avoid it, and she's just drunk on blue milk. She got the eggnog of blue milk.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Well, and then she struck him and stuff too. So.
Yep, we're about to see that.
did. Yes, you did. You're just lying. You're always lying to him. You never tell him the truth about him or his sister. No,
Wait a minute.
You can both
Hold on.
spend a night.
So that part didn't make as much sense. They shouldn't have known about the sister.
It doesn't make as much sense now. Back then, kind of.
Kinda.
Well, Obi-Wan did know.
Well, Obi-Wan was there, right? So yeah, he knew, but
I guess
he would have hid that fact from everybody.
Well, again, this was before we knew, but we don't know. He may not have.
Of course she does. She's a woman.
I missed. Did you check around and see if your wife's around?
I think she went to bed.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful, get over it. Okay. Matthew doesn't like when people. I'll let you explain really quick.
I mean, it's whatever. I don't like AI art because it's theft. Chat GPT is different. It's sort of. It's like having an editor, but AI art is literally stealing other people's art. So
Yeah. And again, you went after one person.
and I wasn't the only one. Jeremy Kimberlin, Diana Davis,
No,
a whole bunch of
I
people.
didn't say you were, but you're the person that showed up that I saw. And again, the worst thing about it is So a quick story, so we'll move on. Is that in the G.I. Joe forum, there's a guy that was so excited that he's bringing his action figures to life by digitally making them. Right? He doesn't have them in like. Okay, so like would be an action pose, right? He doesn't have an action pose. They're literally just standing like maybe this. I just have this guy standing. And he's like so excited that he's brought it to life. And it just looks awful.
Well, yeah, the posing, the lighting, and then even the filters and the AI stuff that he put on there, I was like, that doesn't make it look better. But
yeah. But it was just brought up, and I just said, you need to watch because I know you do that a lot. It was a joke. Now you're all butthurt over it. God, what is up with these fucking Travises? Everyone gets goddamn butthurt over something. All right, back to troops.
There we go. All right. Now look, what do you want to do now, Baru? What do you want to do now?
I don't know.
Okay, now see, that's wrong. What do you mean you don't know? You obviously have a problem. Otherwise, we wouldn't be.
I don't have a problem.
Baru, come here. Now look, you see his ear? It's cut like that.
there it is.
Myself.
I mean, that's definitely a problem.
You did that, didn't you? Yes, you did. Now, see, that tells me you have a problem. And when we get called in, then it becomes our problem.
Our problem.
Now wait a second, Brew.
So there it is. That is. I don't even know if she realized she was being a typical woman. But he started it. This guy is so condescending. And it becomes our problem.
And he's not even listening to what they're saying either.
Well, she's not listening to what they're saying.
Well, right.
You
And
see
so
his
he
ear?
stops listening, and that's why he stops listening to them. He's like, okay, we got to do this now.
She's just totally belligerent. It's just awesome.
I'm talking. I listen to you, and you listen to me. That's how this works, okay? Now, are you going to listen to me? Sure you are.
Sure, yeah.
So right there, you know, he mentioned that he's married and he wants to get home to his kids or whatever earlier. Right there. Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. All right. I wish we could do this with every movie because it's so much easier.
Been out here, Brew. A lot, huh? We know the way by heart. What did I tell you last time?
I don't know.
You don't know or you don't remember?
I don't know.
Brew,
It's another one.
I want you to arrest him.
I can't arrest him. He hasn't done anything. If there's anybody I should be arresting, it
It's
should be
you.
You have two choices here: and yelling and arresting him, or not doing.
Here are your options.
You have two choices, and yelling and arresting are not one of them. I didn't even realize how condescending this guy is. Why wasn't he cast to be in any of the Star Wars movies?
Now you can stay here, or we can take you to an Imperial shelter.
An Imperial shelter.
Baru, what do you want to do? Do you want us to take you somewhere tonight? Huh? Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
There we go. She agreed. She's in imperial custody now, one way or the other.
Oh, you.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's just working. Oh, but see, the wife is under the delusion their nephew ran away. She's blaming the husband for it. He's saying that the kid left early to fix a couple of cadets.
He should have just said he probably went to the Tashi station to pick up some power converters.
But again, so here is again, how many times do we see this even on like, YouTube shorts or whatever, where the cop goes over and he's explaining, like
Yep.
It makes you think that they are police officers or something in law enforcement,
Or they just watched a lot of cops.
I guess there is that too.
We're just going to separate for the night because if we have to come out here again, tell me something I don't know. It is shoot them both.
Just shoot them both.
She's been under a lot of stress.
And here's where he's just not even listening. I don't care.
I don't know. Just got carried away a little bit.
Yeah.
I know. But right now, I think the best thing for both of you is to get some distance from each other for a couple of days. Yeah, I've been telling her.
Yeah, I don't care.
And this dude is one tall motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like either they're all short stormtroopers or he's just really tall. And I'm just kind of noticing like he's looking right over them.
Yep.
But the way he's just kind of explaining it, he's the guy that doesn't want his wife to get in trouble for many reasons because she obviously knows too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, hit that like button if you haven't already.
Well, this is probably the best thing for her right now. You know what I mean? Leave it alone, let it be. Come on. You should really have someone look at that ear. I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
So I always thought thermal detonators were a little bit more powerful than that.
I don't know if that was a thermal detonator, but it was an explosive device anyway.
In a suitcase, because who doesn't carry the explosive device in suitcases?
I mean, come on, suitcase bombs. I mean, it's why it's a thing.
So they are a little far away from their home than what we actually find them, but again.
Well, the troopers probably just took the burning remains and threw them over there.
So now there's some really important dialogue here.
Well, as you can see, things got a bit nasty here. It's unfortunate, but it was almost as you expected. But, the farmers out here are having a bad season. Tempers are high, and it's just bad for everyone. Important thing now is that we find their nephew, Duke. And make sure
Duke. So they're going to go look for Duke.
Did she say they just bought some stolen droids or something? Yep.
See, they just threw the burning bodies over there. Let them burn.
Check out possible disturbance. Most likely Cantina. HK-888, roger that, control.
Oh, I never caught that at the end.
Yeah.
So that would be when Obi-Wan's chopping off people's arms and shit.
Yep.
So again, if you've never seen this or you didn't understand what we're talking about, the Skywalker saga was all a miscommunication.
Yep.
The stormtroopers didn't kill them. Luke was really upset, but really his aunt, it wasn't even, not even like real aunt. I mean, Uncle Owen's not even like his real uncle.
Yeah.
He's like his step uncle.
Right.
But she was, clearly the aggressor here. And because of that, Obi-Wan probably knew this. And he used that to turn Luke into a Jedi fighting machine. Until Disney took over. Then he just quit.
He's just a quitter. Yeah.
Is there anything? There's nothing after it, is there?
No, that's it.
So
yeah, they just play some of the theme song and go from there. But yeah.
I remember people talking about this, and I finally got to see it, and it was done so good. And watching it on a burnt CD, It's how someone had to get it to you, or at least for me, I didn't have the internet, and even if you did, this thing would have taken forever to watch on dial-up. 56K modem.
Well, I forgot how I first got a copy of it, but it was definitely one of those things. You know, all the film students had to go watch this. It's like, look at this. This is awesome. Some fans made this and got away with it. Lucas approved eventually.
Well, because if you put this in there, you'd be like, oh, okay. If you got rid of the the intro and everything, you'd be like, oh, okay. Well, this actually makes sense.
Right.
Then they come back and they're all burnt. I think the stormtroopers did it. All they were doing was their job. They
Right.
just wanted to get home to their kids, their wife and kids. But this was one of the things I believe I mentioned when we first started talking about doing this. I was like, we need to watch Star Wars Troops.
Yeah.
Because this is fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sometimes the movies, you guys may not realize this, they can be difficult.
Well, they take a long time to go through, and as to your point to wanting to do it like this for the other things, you know how much longer that would take us to go through one of those movies like this?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It took us 40 minutes to go through a 10-minute video.
Hey, well, it's, yeah, I got to the topic real early, so.
Well, it took us 40 minutes to get to the topic, so yeah.
Well, yeah, and that should make Ed really happy, because usually he has to wait 2.5+ hours. But yeah, I just, this is just, it is amazing how well, again, I think they did such an amazing job of like, hey, we can make this all just be a complete misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But nobody ever knew until this aired on like the Death Star, but then it got blown up right away.
And all those contract workers, those contract employees that were there just for doing plumbing and maintenance, and all those innocent people, those terrorists.
That is very true.
That is one of my favorite rants in a Kevin Smith movie.
But what did you guys think of it? I mean, I'd love to hear what your guys' thought on this was, because to me,
has everyone seen it before?
yeah. I mean, I would assume as much as we talked about it, and
it's only
you guys
10 minutes.
to watch it,
right?
Yeah, if you can't spend 10 minutes, I mean, that's like a quarter of a video that I do, and way more production. He says, "You think the average stormtrooper knows how to install a toilet?" Well, there's got to be some stuff. There's got to be some stormtroopers that do plumbing.
I mean, they have to have the techno troopers, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, well, Woody says he watched it at least once a year.
Yeah.
It's not sitting down and spending 2 hours on a movie.
Right.
It's 10 minutes, and it's full of laughs. I wonder if they have Obamacare. Would it be Emperor Care?
Well, I mean, it's got to be, state mandated healthcare that they have for sure. Because they have no rights over their own bodies, so they can put chips in them and, make sure that they're steroided up. And
well, that was later on when they decided they needed to juice guys up. What do you guys think of it? Because I just, like what he said, I watch it like once a year. I think about it, and it's like you turn it on, you watch it a couple times, but as many times I've seen it, I never noticed that the Jawa get his head blown off.
I probably haven't seen this in 20 years until you brought it up again.
It had been a long time.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a long time for me. That is for sure. I think sometimes we watch movies and we think like, oh, I watch it every couple months, and then you're like, dude, I haven't seen that in 5 years.
Yeah.
Did you just watch it so much when you were, when you were younger?
Yep. I mean, I did that with everything. I consume media and I just rewatch it over and over again, like most kids do, to get it imprinted.
3-star says, honestly, I haven't thought about it in 10 years until you said you were doing it tonight. Probably 20 years for me too, Matthew. Yeah, it's just, I remember the video being much worse. Now, maybe they tried to clean it up a little bit. But I remember being just so grainy. And then when I watched it, I was like, this really isn't that bad. Again, it's not 4K, that's for sure. Or
Right.
it might even be a little bit under SD. Maybe 360. Jasper says, they nailed the idea and tone of incompetent, power hungry. Yes. The tone is what they really did nail. But they nailed the tone of two different things.
Yep.
They nailed the tone of Cops. I mean, to a T.
Yep.
And like you said, this what Cops was. You couldn't go to a party and Cops not be on. Like if you went to a party, someone turned on a TV show, and there was, for us, it was Fox 2, and there was Cops.
Yep.
Because it was on for like an 8-hour block every Saturday.
Well, they had 20 years of episodes.
I know. Maybe they were kind of warning kids that were partying, like this could happen to you. And then they nailed the Empire.
Yeah.
How they would police. But to me, it's if you just listen to what they say, you probably wouldn't get in trouble.
Right.
So maybe they
Just
would
follow the instructions. I mean, just following orders.
It's a shame Troops isn't better supported by Disney. It would make for a great convention exclusive playset. I mean, it's not that hard to do. I don't know how. What would they give you? A Baru and a tall Uncle Owen?
Well, I think the actor actually was pretty tall who played him.
Well, he's got to be, because if you looked at those two.
No, in the actual movie, I think he was tall also.
Was he?
I think so. You just see him sitting down most of the time, but he's way taller than Luke. He's just kind of hunched over a little bit because he's old man.
Yeah, but Luke's not really tall.
Well,
Is he?
No. I mean, he was short for a stormtrooper.
That's true. But yeah, Mark Hamill, he's not. He's in what, 5'8", 5'9"?
Probably something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be a foot taller than Tom, right?
And just how we know if Alice is still in the chat can show.
Yeah.
Ed says, I think it's hilarious. I loved Cops and Star Wars. I watched it once a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah, like I said, this is just there's only so much you can say over a 10-minute video, but you look back 25 plus years, impressed with the ATST that we talked about,
Right? Yeah.
the Imperial shuttle. Jawa had get
the Lambda class shuttle, as Ed correctly pointed out.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I forgot the exact name of it, but he was right. It's a Lambda class shuttle. That's what it was.
So I've always called it the Shuttle Tidarium, which that is true. It never dawned on me, just like the Millennium Falcon. I mean, the Millennium Falcon I knew was a Corellian ship,
Yep.
and that's what it was named. But it makes sense because, you don't call every aircraft carrier, the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Or every starship the Enterprise.
So I have 3 different sets of Millennium Falcon blueprints, because the Star Wars Galaxy magazine had one, the player's guide for the role-playing game, and I forgot where the third one came from, but they all had different versions of how the ship was designed. And I was like, well, this one's wrong. This isn't right.
Yes, Dash Render's the Outrider was Carillion also.
Yeah, but it wasn't a YT 1300. It was a
No.
YT 800, 600. It was a different YT, I think.
I'd love to see a new episode of this, especially Troopers Shot Fired. Yeah, you know, if it was done today, people would be like, "What the hell is this?" The fact that no one did an America's Most Wanted one, you know, Empire's Most Wanted.
That's it. That's Dash Rendar's YT 2400 light.
Well, I never realized that the Slave One was called the Fire Spray.
It never was.
That wasn't the name before.
Oh, the type of ship. Yeah.
Yes, the type,
yeah.
You know, again, I agree that they should not try and do away with calling it Slave One. It does not mean anything about slaves. Well, I guess it does because it's for slaves, but not for the slaves from the U.S., right?
Right. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the Fire Spray is actually a pretty damn cool name.
Yeah.
But I agree, you should not take it off there. You know, Boba Fett ship. It's called the Slave One.
Yeah.
My buddy used to have that as his license plate. And I had Boba Fett as my license plate. Which I had for many, many years, and I should not have given it up, but I would have had to anyway. It was always my dad's name, and I wanted to get it in my name, but the moment I let it lapse, because you had to wait like 6 months, it got napped up right away.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I had it, and I remember collecting Power of the Force, and I was at Target, and someone had come up to me as we were waiting for the doors to open, and he goes, "Is that your Neon?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You have the Boba Fett license plate?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I went down a few months ago and tried to get that, and it came back denied that someone already had it." And I was like, "Who the hell would have this?" And I had it for a while because my license plate got stolen off my car. Probably for someone could do a gas and go. So I was just like, "Well, I got a real license plate. I might as well see if I can get a custom one."
Yeah.
And I went with Boba Fett, and I had it for, I think, 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I went on multiple vehicles. And then I wanted to get it out of my dad's name because he was no longer co-signing for cars for me because I was an adult. And he's like, "I don't really care." I'm like, "Yeah, I want to get it out just in case something happens." And I had a feeling I wouldn't get it. And
yeah.
I've gone back a few times and typed it in and went, "Yep." But it was BOBAFET. Because people were like, "You don't have 2 T's on it." I'm like, "Well, I can't get 2 T's. They
Yeah.
only put 7 letters on it.
Right.
What do you want me to do about it?" You know, it's better than some of these license plates where you're trying to figure out like what the hell they did.
Yeah.
Oh my! I never even thought about getting USS flag on it. Wow, I should do that before Joe Fest. I can barely afford to get to Joe Fest, so
I was going to say, what are you thinking?
I don't have $200 to get another personalized license plate. Wow, 3-star actually tried to get Outrider, but it was taken.
Wow.
It could not have been because of Shadows of the Empire.
It might have been. I mean, there's enough Star Wars people out there.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll just get APWT.
Yeah, nobody will have that one, probably.
Show up to Joe Fest. Like, that's not a douchebag move.
Do you want to leave your car in the parking lot with that license plate on? I'm at Joe Fest. I'm just, you know.
Well, maybe not if I was going to Dallas. That might be a problem. Joe Fest, I should be okay. My ego is not as big as I make it out to be. I might do some douchebag things, but I didn't. Yeah, there's that one. But then
IK3.
again, maybe I'll just park next to 3 Stacks to the Max.
And he'll be parked right next to the Canadian guy that has the USS flag license plate, I'm sure, because he ripped off that T-shirt and hats and stuff.
Well, he could do 3, the number 3.
Yep.
ST 2 Max, right?
He could. I don't know. I think he'd just stick with IK3K.
Or I could get Mr. 4000. Mr. 4K, Mr. Then I gotta change it once I hit 5. So, he ain't driving punk. Then he'd have no stacks. Oh my gosh. I was trying to figure out how to get down south 77 on a plate. Gonna have to stick with the abbreviation. Yeah, you're not getting that on. That's like I mean, I told you my ex, her brother played baseball. Their last name was Kamenicki. Kamenicki.
Yeah.
Because it's also, it's not just having a long name, but when you have long letters in it too, it just adds to it. Like Lawrence isn't like the longest name, but that W ends it out so damn much. But yeah, there's I don't know what her address is. She don't live with me. I don't even think my kids. Oh, my daughter, I'm sure does. My son's probably like, I don't know what it is. It's written down somewhere. Don't worry, he doesn't have that much money anymore. He's well off, I guess. He retired before Major League Baseball contracts went through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're, because everything is everything is public knowledge if you want to look it up.
Yeah.
His final year, he signed like a 3-year, $9 million contract, which is huge for us. A baseball player today is not signing a 3-year, $3 million or $9 million contract, unless if they're a rookie and they were drafted in like the 18th round.
Yeah.
Like they don't sign for anything under like $15 million.
Right.
And then complain that they didn't make enough money, and you're like,
I was looking through some reports the other day, and I found out that one of the guys that I went to PT school with is a clinic director in Washington, and he was a semi-pro baseball player before getting into PT school.
Wow.
Actually, a third of 25% of my PT class were semi-pro ball players.
Lauren's coming out of Joe Fest like Dalton coming out of the bar at the end of the night. Yes, but as I drive in, I'm going to be like that douchebag in the Ferrari from One Crazy Summer. I really wouldn't put it past all it takes is one person not to like your content, and not to mention if imagine if you saw someone you didn't like their content because you thought they were a douchebag,
right?
Then you see them pull up to a show, and you see that they have a personalized license plate of themselves. Like, I don't think there's more of a way to say I'm a douchebag. Not even having a personalized license plate. It's not like you roll up with like Boba Fett, right? Like, oh yeah, that's cool. You like Star Wars or the USS flag. You have a punk or a PWT, and someone already doesn't like you because they think you're a douchebag, and they're like,
"Oh, confirmed."
You have got to be kidding me! This fucker went out and spent money on a license plate.
Well, they call them vanity plates for a reason.
I guess that is very true.
So in my area, I know that there's a guy that has a boba license plate, or used to, and he's got a modified Thunderbird, and he put an R2D2 on the back, on the hatch type of thing.
Oh.
So he's got a little R2D2 that sticks on the back of it, and he has it all painted up Star Wars style.
3-star. It dawned on me, as you said, you gotta at least put a couple of your stickers on your car if you don't already. It now occurs to me that you guys have never heard me rant about people that have stickers
on their cars. No, yeah, not gonna.
I'm an adult.
Yep, not gonna do it.
If you have like 1 or 2 stickers properly placed, I can accept that. When I see a car, especially a nicer car where it is stickered up, I just can't believe someone would do that to something that they spent so much money on and continue to put money in because you have to get places.
Yeah, my big thing is, don't give anybody any personal information you don't have to. Number one. Number two, if you put stickers on your car, then you're expressing an opinion about something, and everybody's got an opinion about an opinion, and that will alter their thoughts towards you one way or another, and that could make them more aggressive or whatever. You never know.
What?
I heard you talk about the stickers.
Oh.
Do you remember when we were at Meyer and like that big sticker was at the back and it was like something about stopping like car crashes, and it was like on the back of the window.
So there was a big
So they can't
sticker.
see out the back window.
That's exactly what she pointed out. That was the exact thing that she pointed out when she saw it about stopping car crashes. Like, you can't see out the back. And I was like, well, actually, a lot of those you can, but it actually did. It was an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, and this is not political. When people have political bumper stickers, that's fine. You want to support a candidate? That is perfectly fine. But 2 months after they've won or lost, that sticker needs to come off.
You can't get
I
those
do not
stickers
need
off.
to see Bush Cheney stickers anymore. Because he's been out of office for many years.
Many years. I just like the giant meteor stickers. I mean, those are the best ones. Or Cthulhu. Yeah, vote for Cthulhu.
I like the coexist ones. Like, wow, I hate all you. Like, did you really need to do that? Like, do we really need a sticker of all the different types of religious symbols to spell out coexist to know that we should just coexist?
Can't we all just get along?
And then I think what's even worse than the sticker, the stick family things that people have, are the people that have, I ate your stick figures, and it has like, you're worse than them.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it. That's the worst part.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah. I hate everyone equally. Can we get that in religious? But you know what we don't see as much anymore? The Hobbs peeing on different.
No, that one faded. Yeah.
Yeah.
That faded with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Sorry, too soon.
I'm just glad I'm not the one that said it. The other one is like baby on board. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had a baby on board. I'll drive better. No, if you drive like an asshole, you drive like an asshole. You don't go, oh, I was going to drive like an asshole, but you have a baby on board, so let me be nice around here. Yeah, you might be right on it. The Hobbs has turned into the Trump pissing. Yeah, I just, my thing is, when it comes to these political bumper stickers or anything, 2 months after the election is over, win or lose, they should be taken off, or you should be able to get ticketed. Just because. And again, I promise you, someone is going to drive out in the next week and see a Bush Cheney. And it's like, all right, they won both elections. And then Obama was in for 8 years. And then there was Donald Trump. And now we have a guy that doesn't know his own name. That's not political. It's just true. You can remove that bumper sticker. You could have found a way to remove it. I almost can't even believe the car is still running. Oh, yes. The no fear.
No fear.
Yes, no fear may be one of the worst. I don't know how we saw this. Loki War 2 says, I saw an Obama one last week. You're going to see it. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? They've been out of office for a long time.
Is he, though?
Well, I mean, he is. I just don't know if the president realizes that he's no longer the vice president. I really thought that when he left office, and I mean the vice president, who's now the president, that he couldn't have given us anything better than his all the memes of him not realizing that he was out of office. But he has done some very memorable stuff as president, as leading up to.
I mean, you could go back to the 90s. He was saying stupid stuff back then, too.
Yeah, but he wasn't that important back then.
Yeah, just a senator. Good night, Legend Series. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're going to cut out. I've been on streams way too much, and I have another long stream this Saturday, and it's not Oz's. So before I do leave, on Jay Bartlett's channel, I will start promoting it soon. I will be on his show along with many others, like It's Chad. Allison Troy's going to be on as Princess Leia. Zazo will be on, obviously Jay Bartlett, and many others. And we're going to be doing a read of The Empire Strikes Back. I am somehow playing the Emperor. Maybe I'm that wrinkled. I don't know. But I don't think I have as many lines. Yeah. I have other parts too, because we don't have a whole litany of people. But I don't have a lot of lines. It is at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be about 3 hours, I believe. He said when they did the G.I. Joe movie, it took them about 3 hours. And this is longer than that.
Wow.
You guys know how bad my reading is. But I think, I've watched Empire Strikes Back so many times. It's not really going to be reading. It's going to be seeing the line and being like, okay, I guess I know what it is. Although the Emperor doesn't have a lot of lines, so he might have a lot in this. I got to read through it.
The son of Skywalker should not become a Jedi.
I forgot that he talked to him as and he was like a monkey.
The original images that they used when the movie came out was a woman in a cloak, and after they cast the actor Ian McDiarmid for Return of the Jedi, and they made the special editions, they went back and redid the CGI for the hologram.
Yeah.
So it was interesting the way they did all that.
And I don't have a problem with them redoing it, but when they reshot it, didn't they make it was like a giant head rather than the whole body?
Well, it wasn't a whole body initially. It was a torso, but it was all kind of cloaked and everything. And it was a female actress was playing the part of the Emperor.
When they used Ian McDiarmid, when they redid it, didn't they just show his whole head?
Yeah, pretty much.
It was like, why do we need to see his whole head?
Yeah.
Could you a little bit back it up a little bit?
Largo, you're just getting here when we're finishing up. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for joining. But yeah, we are about to cut it. But yeah, so if you are interested, Jay Bartlett, like I said, it's Chad. Zazo from Slaughterhouse will be on. Allison Troy, who will be, I'm assuming, playing Princess Leia because they were looking for someone. Myself, Jay, his producer, I think he's a producer. One of the guys doesn't have a YouTube, but he produces actual movies.
Right.
He's like a real person in the business. But they asked me, not Travis Moody. So, suck it, Travis.
Travis is too busy filming his project right now.
He has been working, so
Yep.
Good for him. I'm
Yeah.
glad. Just don't tell me that you've been working. I've worked for 2 weeks straight.
Good night, Logie. Ooh, 2 weeks straight. Yeah,
I know.
nice.
We had posted a few things. Like, I've been real busy. I've worked like 3 straight weeks, and we're like, I've worked.
Yeah,
I've worked
every day.
23 years straight at the company I work for now, and before that, I was working straight. So 3-star. Okay, let me check it. Is it for this?
Anyway, we should get to doing Spaceballs by the end of the month. I think that'll be fun. We might even, chat a little beneath the dome or fanboys.
3-star. What is he doing to the dog?
Oh, Jim, we get you. We understand. Thanks for stopping by. Hardware Wars is awesome too.
Oh yeah, no, we're not saying anything bad about it. I mean, we know your internet in Guatemala can only handle like 56K there with your bad coffee, even though they grow all the coffee there. So, all right, you guys have a wonderful night, and we will we'll see you on Monday. I'm assuming, right? I should really get the brand ready before. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
To be